Feeling trapped by all the stuff? Can't keep up? No time to think or plan? Has the rush and gush of modern life got you trapped?
Slow is the new fast. Slow is the new fast.
Slow is the new fast.
Set your coordinates. It's Mach 0, making time for life, one thing at a time, with your host, the VIP coach, John Davidson.
You're listening to JD, and this is the VIP coach. Welcome to our show. You're listening to Mach 0, making time for life, one thing at a time. You are an entrepreneur, and you are growing your business. You're ready for a huge jump in your career, and that's why you're listening to this show, is you need help. That's right. You're comfortable with your own ignorance. You need help. And so you're reaching out. Hopefully you've been a follower of our show. We are kind of the third generation. The first generation was No Hype Allowed. I did 55 No Hype Allowed shows where I debunked a lot of the concepts and ideas surrounding self-help, like changing your beliefs. I talked about, through 55 shows, how most of the self-help work never really helps anybody. It's a great marketing industry. And so I don't want it to mislead people. I feel a responsibility to reach out and protect you from misinformed information, getting caught up in all kinds of self-help protocol and literature and doctrine that assumes some kind of authority. But if you take a real honest look at it, it doesn't move you any closer to being a better creator or make you any more successful. Granted, there are some things that work, but most of it really doesn't. And only about 20% of the users of self-help really do something with it. The rest of the 80% really waste their money. It's a big industry. I'm in that industry. But I want to do it honestly. I want to make sure that there's no hype allowed behind what you're doing. And I still operate by that principle, and that's still underlying this show of Mach 0. The second generation was radical creativity theory. So I spent about 27 shows teaching you the combination between what I called creative freedom, which is the capacity to get freed up and create what matters to you, in combination with creative value, which is to be who you really are, bring your gifts to the surface, and create great value for a marketplace, in combination with a greater sense of purpose of what is really needed in the world and what you sense you need to do on behalf of it. And so we learned how to cut the divide between self, the current self, and the future self, and the current self and the other, which involves opening the heart. The first one is opening the mind. And then the third is really opening up this will. It's to open yourself to listening from the emerging future possibilities, kind of setting foot into the unknown and operating by an emerging future possibility that you don't even know how to create yet. So it's that kind of courage and alacrity of giving yourself to some kind of larger calling or cause that we call creative purpose. And when you combine all three of these, it gives rise to an extraordinary life, a life of involvement, a life of great learning, sustainable learning, and a lot of great value for other people. Because what you find is that when you make yourself happy and you take aim with your gifts, you find that the world depends on it. You owe the world your happiness. Entrepreneurs are those that pay themselves last. They're the ones that are always the last in the line. Everybody else gets paid on payroll except them. They eat last. They're always the last. And yet that's a recipe for burnout. That's a recipe for low endurance over time. We encourage our entrepreneurs and the VIP coach to take excellent care of themselves. Free time becomes a necessity. It is not a luxury. Time off is a recipe for great work. They build businesses to serve their life rather than consume their life. See, that's the mindset. So when they do that, it's the most altruistic thing they can do. The most selfish thing that you can do is to take care of everybody else. It's a superficial generosity trying to make sure everyone else is getting along, everything else is going well for everybody. And you're just dying a slow death, neglecting what your real needs are. What are you doing? It's a recipe for no energy. And in your world as an entrepreneur, you have to guard your energy. It's the number one asset that you have, right? Businesses don't run out of time. They run out of energy. You run out of enthusiasm. When that happens, you quit trying, you quit making an effort, you quit learning. How do you maintain enthusiasm? Having a vision, and also having a clear picture of current reality of where you are. So radical creativity were about some of these concepts and strategies. Now, we're in what's called Mach 0. And I created the Mach 0 show because I found there's a direct connection between the capacity to cultivate a sense of stillness, that slow is the new fast. We've all gotten caught up in this interconnected world of being on stage all the time communicating, that we're exposing ourselves to other people at rapid rates. Shared information is creating an amazing vulnerability where we're feeling more and more the pressure of having to be online, be connected, be on call, and access equals success. But a lot of it just doesn't match up. There's a lot of unhappy people as technology is going up. And so I'm on the fighting side of creating or bringing back the sense of humanity in your path as an entrepreneur. Yes, you need to be a performer. Certainly there's a level of technology that will help. But that doesn't mean that you quarantine yourself from being a human being. And the first step in being a leader is being a human being, being incomplete as a leader. Not being perfect, not having it all together, but really coming to terms with your flaws. And it's about how well you depend on other people to create causes and things that really matter to you. In fact, in your journey, probably the moment when you realized how dependent you really were, you got wise. Because you began to see the traits, you began to see the gifts and the reverence for other people and what they could do with you and for you. You began to sense where collaboration was important rather than competition. Rather than it being about mastering something or being competitive or individualism, you realized it was more about the collective. It was more about a non-patriarchal type of leadership, where you guys are co-creators, and you take equal responsibility, equal statured responsibility in unifying a team to create something that individually and collectively matters. Mach 0 is about the way that you control the level of cadence in your life. So as you bring the level of cadence down, your quality of thinking and your decisions go up. You're not captured by the busy flu. You're not captured by that at all. You are your own vaccine by using your levels of awareness, the understanding of your top priorities, and you begin to organize your life around your choices, not around your circumstances. Mach 0 is about having that kind of control over your attention. It's all about setting boundaries as well, and it's all about where you focus your attention and how you're integrating your experiences. Mach 0 is about listening. Yes, it is the deepest level of listening. It's a generous listening. It's offering yourself to the reality that is. It's about being real. It's about recognizing that that which is emerging in your life is exactly what the future needed at this moment. Operating at Mach 0 is operating life on your own terms. It's about tapping into collective fields and energies, qualities that you kind of sense something is standing in need of you, and you know what you need to do on behalf of it. You have a felt sense of what's implied next in your life because you're taking stock. You're taking stock of what really does matter. But wait a minute. I don't want to look at reality, JD. Reality's scary. I might have to change something. I might find that if I look at what I'm really doing, I'm not doing anything that matters. And you know, that's very, very eye-opening for people, is that you may be finding that a lot of what you're doing is non-essential. And that can become non-existent if you choose. I suggest that you organize your life around one thing only, around what matters to you. Because anything that you will do in the lane of what matters to you, you will give it great care and concern. If you want to clean up your habits and keep your agreements, look at the content. Focus on what matters to you. People that don't keep agreements don't have content in their life that matters. That's the bottom line. They don't give a shit about what they're doing. If you're not finishing something, it's because you're working on things that don't matter to you. It's that simple. When somebody really cares about something, they move from C performance to A performance. Bar none. I don't care where they are. If it really matters, they're going to do it well. If it doesn't matter and they don't give a shit, they're not going to do it well. It's a bottom line thing. It's either black or white. Either it matters or it doesn't matter. And if it doesn't matter or matter, that's ineffable. There's no explaining or justification behind what matters. It just stops there. Either it does or it doesn't. And it helps to know what does or doesn't. That's about as far as you can go. So all the behavior, all the habits can start with bringing something to life that you care about. And this involves mastering a creative process. That you as an entrepreneur desire something first, and then you decide on what to do with it. You either want it or don't want it. You decide to create it, or you decide not to create it. Right? You have four options. I want it. I decide to create it. I want it, I decide not to create it. I don't want it, but I decide to create it anyway. I don't want it, therefore I decide not to create it. To create or not to create is really the question. And it takes some practice. Remember, we're not doing architecture as entrepreneurs, because in architecture, you're building it and then you enjoy what you're creating after you have created it. In the creative process, it's not about that. It's not about construction. In construction, you construct something and you say, oh, this is great. It matters after it's come into being. But no, when you're really creating, it starts with love, a very generative side of love, not a receptive love. So in order for you to create, you've got to depend on a group of people. You've got to depend on people that are committed to something that matters to them. They're really, really good at what they do, hopefully in the lanes of what your needs are and where you need help. And they're consistently learning towards something that they want to create. So how do you multiply yourself? This is the topic of today's show. You know that you have to multiply yourself to get to the next level. But there you are, you're holding on to all the stuff, doing things, doing $10 an hour work, owning a job, not owning a business. What's your first step? Fire yourself. Do not be a business operator, be a business owner. This requires a new sense of commitment. Now, in being a business owner, it's going to be a shift of your thinking. Why don't you write yourself a termination letter? Why don't you sign it and date it so that it's official? And sign it as the president. Now make a new position description for you as the owner. Describe your goals and your daily activities as well as the standards by which you'll conduct your work. Wanting to be an owner and choosing to be one are very different animals. Say yes, and the how will be furnished through reflection in action. Reflection in action. Reflection in action is learning through doing, experimentation, and capacity building. Write down right now every barrier, every fear or obstacle to positioning yourself as the owner that you're describing that you can think of and consider. Consider workaround strategies to address these. Relook at your organizational chart and see who has strengths that warrant picking up activities you'll no longer be doing as solely an owner. It may require considering an office manager to step up, or a project manager, or someone to take partial things off your plate. You need an offload plan. Someone from the lower ranks can probably bring someone else in to free you up. It also may involve some very tactful decisions with lower performers to step up. Next, mind your thinking. You need to shift your thinking from someone who works time to someone who works results. Business operators get paid for time. When you think like an employee, you're working hours. Employees hold a quantity view of time, but business owners hold a quality view of time. A complete difference. In the quality view, things like energy and managing energy and having momentous time is most important. Sure, it may be an hour, but what result you take out of that hour is quality. Instead of working all the time, instead of working all the quantity and getting things done, it's about content. What are you putting into the time that you actually have? Write down your top 3 money-making activities that increase your earning power. And these increase your earning power independent of the time for money aspect. Because see, what happens when you're working the quantity view is you're working hours rather than results. This is called time for money. Basically, you get paid for the time that you spend. But being an entrepreneur as an owner, you don't get paid for the time that you spend. You get paid for the opportunity. And in order to create opportunity, you have to first create value for someone. So to leverage your time, it has to do with, one, how are you allocating the things that you get energized by doing into the actual work product that you do? This is a choice. Do you want your unique abilities and talents to be a centerpiece of what you do, or do you want it to be a hopeful thing that you never quite get to? Your business can depend on your unique ability. In fact, at the beginning, it did. That this personal gift that you have, this factory-made skill that you did, was the centerpiece. It was the nucleus as to why all the relationships came around you in your life. People buy people. They said, oh, this person does something different that I've never seen before. They have a personal gift. But over time, through the morass of all these details and all the hats that you wear, little by little, the unique ability began to slide. And an avalanche began to happen. And you stopped having conversations with your unique ability. You neglected it. You became absorbed in other things. And this is what caused you to lose all the energy. This is why you're listening to this program. But you really love to have that back. In fact, you may be in such an excellence trap, you've gotten so good at so many things that people rely on you for it, and they've created a captivity. You can't get to the unique ability activities because you're so caught up and other people are depending on you for it, like your kids. You put a big roof over yourself. You've gotten a big mortgage. You've got people depending on you. You've gotten into debt. Mind your thinking. Calculate how much income you need for the next 12 months, and consider what sales activity is needed to furnish you as an owner's draw to pay your lifestyle. Relook at your company's mission. Look at its vision and values, and what you're doing to anchor these guiding ideas into the activities and processes that the business conducts. You see, as an owner, your job is helping all the aspects of the business filter through these three main areas: mission, vision, and values as a lens. This is what the game is really about. Your job as the owner is to sell the vision both backstage and front stage. There's a consistency to the leadership that you will use backstage. It's the same as the front stage. I know you love selling. That's what's gotten you this far. When you're selling to someone, you're listening to them. You're organizing your attention around their needs. You're in their world. You probably are proudest of yourself when you're doing your sales work. But why don't you go backstage with the same things? Your customers, your number one customers, are your staff, not your clients. Your staff being the number one customer means that you will repel, like a bouncer, any C-player clients from getting into the hazards of making your staff work harder. 20% of your clients will bring 80% of the headaches to your business. And 20% of your clients will bring 80% of the wonders and the great assets and money and resources to your business. So what do? You've got to cut out the lower 20%. What does that do? That honors and respects your principle to put your internal customers first. That means your staff. Your staff will appreciate that. When your staff gets great work with customers who appreciate you, they show up. They have more horsepower. And remember, bosses are created. So you being a business owner will be created by your team just as much as you create them. All right, we're going to take a break. I hope you're interested so far. We got a couple of strategies left. How are you going to multiply yourself to be this master and commander creator and be able to get access to all the gifts and purpose that you'd like to get expressed in your life through this great avenue you've chosen called a business? You've made a lifestyle choice. We're going to take a break. I'll be right back.
Having a life where you have the creative freedom to do what you love and to offer the world something that only you can bring to the table. That is the world of high-level performance with John Davidson. That is the world of radical creativity. That is the world that you can be a part of when you realize all that is holding you back is you. Begin the journey through one-on-one coaching that gives you the finesse for business and lifetime achievement, and find your place on the roadmap to high-level performance today. Visit highlevelperformance.com. Grow your business and grow as a human being with these captivating books authored by the VIP coach himself, John Davidson. The Day I Built My Barbecue is about creative freedom. Learn how you can not only live well, but also grow a thriving business at the same time. John shows you his step-by-step technique with the principles, strategies, and steps to move from a business operator to a business owner. The day you build your barbecue is the day we all wish for. Totally free of distractions, totally available to living well, fully present. Then don't miss Unstoppable You. It's about creative value. When we do what we love and love what we do, we discover ways to make our business more fun and monetize our passions. Through stories, tools, and steps, this book will help you bring something to the world that no one else can, and bridge your most unique talents to the deepest aspirations you have of the future, and stand in the presence of all you are. It's about creative purpose. What does it mean to live on purpose? How do we work with the mystery that life presents us at every moment? In this book, John shows us through the silent spaces in life how to connect with our innermost sacred projects and passages. You'll learn how to bring the work, language, and presence of the soul into everything you do. Visit highlevelperformance.com to pick up any of these books in paperback or Kindle editions today. That's highlevelperformance.com. From go time to slow time. Slow is the new fast. Mach 0, making time for life, one thing at a time. With VIP coach John Davidson.
Okay, this is JD, and the topic for today is multiplying you. How are we going to multiply you so you can move from an operator to a business owner? The third thing you're going to do is mind your support system. Mind your support system. You need to delegate everything except what you enjoy doing most and where you get your best results. Man, I have people tell me, no, JD, it can't be that way. I just have to do these things. You can delegate almost everything. The one thing that you cannot delegate is in the hiring dimension of your business. You cannot delegate hiring. Choosing performers early on in the game is the most critical thing that a leader can do. Choosing your partners is mission critical. Your career will be made or broken based on the people around you. You entirely depend on them for quality information, trust, and to be great at what they do. You need to partake in predicting their future performance. Don't delegate that process. However, delegate everything else except what you love doing and what you get the best results doing. So, what's the best possible way that you can do that? Take stock. Start looking at your time. You have 3 types of time. Just like a performer on stage, like an athlete, or a person who's in the arts, you have what's called game time, prime time, high performance time. This is time when you're making money or you're utilizing your personal gift on behalf of other people's value creation. You're using transformative conversations as the vehicle or medium by which you are becoming creative. As a business owner, you are not only the artist, but you're the engineer and you're the economist. But the one who really leads is the artist. This is the entrepreneur. Yes, to be a sustainable business, you have to be also a great engineer. You got to have processes and quality control so you can build a brand. McDonald's would never be where it is today unless it had great engineering. We all are tasting in the restaurant the same thing every single time because someone engineered something to be that way. It's documented. It's manualized. It's a business. Someone doesn't own a job. At the same time, you have to be an economist, which means paying attention to the numbers. That means that what you do is obviously profitable. Profit is the oxygen of your business. I want you to have an obscenely profitable business. If you don't have a profit, you can't get to your mission and you can't get to your purpose. You're building a prosperous enterprise. It's not about greed. Building a prosperous enterprise is where commerce meets spirituality. So in order for you to get access to that, you've got to look at where your time is going. Now, in order for you to get leverage on this, in order for you to start knowing your needs and develop your needs for help, there are 4 types of time. One is you're spending time on things that you are not good at. I call this poor time. Poor activities are things that you never again want to do. They zap your energy the most. You may try harder and harder to get better at these activities. You're just not going to get it. Accounting is that for me. I never ever get better at accounting. I've been at this 16, 17 years building this business and the business before. I've tried hard to get better at accounting. I just let it go. Don't focus on your weaknesses. You'll have a lot of strong weaknesses. Instead, let's focus more on your strengths. Strengths is about resonance, where you get energized the most. So, number ones, what I call number ones, or poor, means these are the bottom of the barrel. These are the things that most urgently you've got to get out of your life as possible. These are the energy zappers. These are the vampires trying to suck you dry. Number 2s are your areas of good performance. Good performance are things that you're par at, competent at. We're not talking about your golf game, but these are things that you could do well. You do okay with them, but there's a lot of competition. And then you inventory what your 3s are. Your 3s are things that you're excellent at, brilliant at. In fact, you have some relationships because of it. You're great at it. These are your great activities. So you've got poor, you've got goods, and you've got greats. 1s, 2s, and 3s. These are the tough ones to delegate because you've got a lot of other people relying on you. You've developed branding, recognition. You condition people to depend on you this way. A lot of our entrepreneurs in the VIP coach, like medical professionals, lawyers, we have a lot of lawyers in the program, financial advisors, they've developed a skill so much over time. These are mid-career executives at high income levels. They're affluent people. And they can't seem to simplify their life because they're so caught in this excellence trap. It's very hard to let go of the things that they're so excellent at because they've developed such a loyalty for it. But we have the means to do it. The first thing you must do is take inventory. Know what you are excellent at. Now the 4s, these are the items that are your personal gifts. Personal gifts are very simple. They're superior skills that you have a passion for. That's it. That's right. Strength is not about ability. It's about ability plus enthusiasm. In fact, if you had one versus the other, I'd rather have the enthusiasm versus the ability. Because if you have the enthusiasm, you'll commit to the deep practice necessary to actually get better and better at it. You'll become more masterful at the things that really you enjoy most. You know those kind of things, those activities where you say at the end of the day, gosh, I'm not tired. I could do this all day long, and I'd absolutely love it, and I'm just energized more and more and more. Does business really have to be hell? Change your mindset. Business can be about fun. In fact, the more that you enjoy your business, the more valuable that you are. Because what you're hungering for is involvement. And what clients pay for and refer for is that kind of dedication, where they know that they're among something, that they're exposed to something. Just like we go see an artist, you know that you're in the realm, you know that you're exposed to something very, very weird and artistic, something different. And that's why we follow people, is because they work more into themselves. They are themselves, and they become competitive because of it. The first step of leadership, become more of yourself and become competitive. There really is nothing to mask. If you're trying to be anything, that's not you. Be weird. You are an artist. You've always been an artist. You know a lot more than you could ever say. You don't know what you know. But you have found yourself in moments when you've had great pleasure from the activities that you're doing. You felt really in your skin. You felt real. You felt that this was your thing. This was your X factor. And that if you could do it all the time, if you could have the courage just to step into it, you'd have extraordinary rewards, internally and externally. I need you to trust that. So, hopefully you've done the time inventory. You understand what this inventory is. And now we're going to create a plan to free you up. So you're going to take all the ones and the twos and draw a circle around it. Then you're going to look inside your organization for someone, and you're going to say, look, these are the ones and twos that I need help with. Do you have a 3 or a 4 in these areas? Because you're complementing the other person. You have a strength, they have a certain thing. They're going to bring to the table their personal gift in the areas where you do not. This makes it incredible because they're going to volunteer to do that kind of work. I'll give you an example. I had an assistant who I gave an assignment to. I wanted her to edit this podcast. And I gave it to her, and about a day later, she came back and knocked on my door and said, hey, JD, I absolutely loved doing that. When can I do another one? She's asking me for the work. That is a personal gift. Now, editing a podcast, I love doing what I'm doing right now, but I am not a 3 or a 4 at editing a podcast. She's an ace at it, and she's become a great editor. She loves editing. At first, she was okay with it, just enough to make our shows great. But now that she's editing the Mach Zero show, I've got somebody that has a personal gift. Think about eating a food in a restaurant of someone that is cooking who is a 1 and a 2 at preparing the food. Do you think the food would taste like that? You bet it would. It would taste like shit, or it'd be subpar. The food wouldn't be as great as it could. But when you get a 4 in that kitchen, when you get someone that loves cooking, that they just love doing it anyway, it has psychic salary, you're going to taste it in the food. In fact, it may be the single best factor that makes you come back and return to that restaurant again and again and again, is their capacity, commitment, and obedience to focusing on their personal gift. So these are the 3 steps that I suggest that you start with, is to terminate yourself from being a business operator, write your termination letter, and being a business owner, and change your mindset to a results mindset rather than a quantity view around time and effort. Remember, your economy of means is about going out into a marketplace and creating value for other people. That's what you get paid for. There are no entitlements in what you do. Second is to start looking around your organization for help. You depend on other people to get that kind of help. So it's important that you know what your income needs are so that you're able to see how to make this transition. Yes, you could start by offsetting or offloading to a part-time person. The point is just to get a start. The help that you're going to get is going to return dividends to you in a monetary way, where you'll be able to afford organically more and more help. That's because the moment that you start, proportionately, it begins to gain momentum. That as you begin to offload 5-10% of what your 1s and 2s are, you begin to find yourself doing other activities that are more results inducive. Hence, you're getting more income, you're contributing more to the profits of the business, you're able to take more distributions, and that money means you can buy more assets with it. Assets meaning human capital. Third is finding other people that have personal gifts in the lanes of delegation that you need help with. But take a time inventory. Take honest time. The second type of time that you actually spend time on is called maintenance time. This is when you're kind of preparing, you're repairing things that are broken, you're cleaning stuff up, and you're upgrading systems in your organization. Michael Gerber, a popular author of the E-Myth, called it working on your business rather than working in your business. But he's often asked, how do I work on my business when I'm just inspired by the dread and the cadence of all these things and everything's depending on me? The answer is, you got to make it a priority. You just do. We all have the same amount of time. You can use time to leverage your strengths. When you go with the quality view, you realize you've got to use better the time that you have. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. You've got to manage your energy, not your time. You can get a lot more done using your energy properly in 90 minutes rather than spreading it around all day long. The average executive gets their results out of 1 out of 7 hours per workday. Isn't that a shame? Why is that? Because on average, that 1 hour is probably dedicated to the things that bring big results, the things they enjoy doing and their personal gifts, and the activities that they intrinsically desire or move them towards their goals. So what are they doing with those other 6 hours? They're doing stuff. Stuff is stupid things you fire first. Stuff is very predatory to entrepreneurs. You only have 2 things to do, stuff and non-stuff. So by making your time inventory, you begin to get ahead and get on offense on getting that stuff off your plate. Even if you don't have someone yet to hire, the first step of getting a position description or even an inventory of your needs will help you start the process. Then start making a date as to when you will hire that person and make that a deadline that you will work towards. Mind your support system. Remember how dependent that you are. Highly important that you make sure that you capture all the aspects in your cross-section inventory of what you do. Circle those 1s and 2s, and then start to work on getting those off your plate. You can stop doing those things, delegate those things, maybe delay them for later, barter with someone, ask for more help, hire someone inside your organization, bring someone into it who's already working for you, or maybe even outsource it to an outside service or a virtual assistant. The point is, you start to be creative and find workarounds once you commit to multiplying yourself. The greatest investment that you can make is in your own earning power, and the thing that controls that is your talent. And the thing that controls or regulates your talent is whether you're focused on your domain of self-efficacy or not, your personal gift. Strength is resonance. All right, you've heard a lot in this podcast today. This is Mach 0. The show is about how to multiply yourself as a creator, as an entrepreneur who wants to be an owner, not an operator anymore. Take one thing out of this show today and implement it. Just one thing. And if you get momentum after that one thing, then implement the next thing. Don't run out of here with all these exciting tools and think that you're going to stop smoking, stop cussing, and you're going to stop drinking at the same time. That's a total collapse. Your habits will not do it. Try to focus on one thing that you think will bring the biggest impact over the next 30 days. And just stay with that. Narrow your focus in on one thing, and that will take you a lot farther and create a platform and a momentum to create the next thing. I appreciate you listening to us. If you're interested in more help and you love the idea of accountability and working one-on-one with someone who knows the insides and outs of you and your world, if you want to get rid of all the non-essentials, get back to all the time that you want with the people that matter to you, and you truly, truly want to harvest your creative freedom and help the world see the opportunity of you and live on purpose. In other words, taking action in meaningful ways with informed action toward outcomes that deeply do matter to you. If that is something that you'd like to operate by and you're ready to make that choice, then I encourage you to give us a call. We're at highlevelperformance.com. Go to www.highlevelperformance.com. My name is JD, John Davidson. I am the founder of High Level Performance. We coach elite executives and top sales producers that are in high income ranges. We'd appreciate an opportunity to speak with you. We've been at this for the last 16 years. I've got 18,000 hours at coaching, and so I bring a lot of wisdom and experiences with what I do. I hope you had an opportunity to learn something new today, and I always encourage you to get help. It's probably the smartest thing that you can do for yourself and your family. Thank you very much. I look forward to the next one.
From go time to slow time. Slow is the new fast. Mach 0, making time for life, one thing at a time. With VIP coach John Davidson.